I'm Michaela Green. I'm representing Van Buren County. My presentation is called The Leatherback Experience. How it all began. My sister went to Boyko Islands off the west coast of Africa. She would study the leatherback sea turtles. And what she would do when she would watch the turtles come in on the beach at night, and when they would watch them dig their nests and lay their eggs, and they would have to count their eggs as they laid them. And the turtles were tagged. They would put a little thing underneath the edge of their shell to tag them for identification at a later time. The information was collected and they would use it for population counts and age and growth and everything else like that. And the researchers would live on the beach in tents, and almost everything that they owned that they took molded and or broke. And where they were at, they were located where they had no internet access or cell phone service, so they were basically locked off from the world. They were just kind of out there. Meals were cooked over an open fire. They had a special tent for their food and their storage and all their generators for their power. And they would occasionally trade like the rice and some of the things that the island provided them with the natives that were actually on the island with them, and they would get fresh fish, which was really good because they didn't have fish, that they basically had no meat. So how the leatherbacks got their names. The leatherbacks got their names from their oily and rubber-like shell. I have never touched one, so I can't describe it other than that. Leatherbacks are also known as lutes. I don't call them lutes because I have gotten used to saying leatherbacks. The leatherbacks are the only types of turtles that do not have a hard shell or scales. They are basically a totally different turtle. So, life as a baby turtle. A baby leatherback turtle weighs about 45 grams, which is less than an egg. So they're very tiny when they're born, and only 90% of the baby turtles would actually make it to the water and survive, because birds and crabs would pick them up as they were walking to the ocean and eat them. So not a lot of them actually make it to the water. And the mother turtles dig their nests about 3 foot deep. So these tiny little turtles have to dig their way out of a 3 foot deep hole. Maturity. Once the turtles swim out to sea, they stay there basically until they're mature enough to actually lay their eggs, and that's the only time that they will come up onto the beach. The male turtles basically stay in the ocean their whole entire life. Once they're there, they stay there. You hardly ever see a male turtle come up on shore. Middle age. A mother leatherback will lay 65 to 85 eggs in one nest. And they will lay 7 times about 10 days apart. And an average turtle will lay about 100 eggs. A leatherback lays about 450 to 600 eggs in 10 days. So they lay a lot more than other turtles do. Mother leatherbacks will make a different nest at a different site for each nest. So they will go to one beach one day and the next they'll be in a totally different spot. Not even close. They can be 2 miles apart. So, old age. Leatherback can go up to be 40 to 60 years old. So not real old, but old enough. And a full-grown leatherback will weigh 600 to 1,000 pounds. Some males have been recorded to get up to 2,000 pounds, which is pretty impressive because these mother leatherbacks would go and lay their nests. They would try to keep them off of the other turtles' nests. So these two researchers who were patrolling the beach that night, they would have to try to move them if they got too close. And moving a 600 to 1,000 pound turtle would be pretty challenging in swimsuits and flip-flops. Their diet is mainly jellyfish, which are not very tasty in my opinion. It's remarkable that these big active turtles can just basically eat jellyfish, which are mostly water. And they have poor nutrients, so these big turtles are eating these things that have very little nutrients in them, and yet they're still alive and strong. How the human affects the turtle. The effects the human has on the turtle is the trash that makes its way into the ocean, like a plastic bag that you get at the store when you go shopping. If you had a sandwich and you were on the beach that day and you had packed your lunch in a plastic bag and you had accidentally dropped your plastic bag and you didn't pick it up, if that made its way into the sea, that can go to where these turtles would eat their jellyfish. And if they eat them, they can choke and they will die. So the human has a very, very big effect on the turtle by the human's trash. So the plastic bag is the most common thing that will kill a leatherback sea turtle. So we need to keep them out of the water. Thank you for listening to my presentation. I've learned a lot about these turtles ever since my sister went, and I've read this book, and I've done a lot of research, and I've had my sisters help a lot on this project. And I think it's very important to help save these endangered turtles, so please keep your trash out of the oceans. Any questions? Tommy? Do what?
If you could have a leatherback turtle as a pet, would you?
Yes, I would. Any other questions?
Are you ever going to get to go where your sister went?
I'm going to try. I wanted to go when she went just so I could experience how they did everything, but my mom and dad wouldn't let me, so.
Yeah, we're great too. Who funded the research for that trip?
Actually, the Wildlife Society of a college would help, and all the research, the leatherback sea turtle research programs help, and a lot of different organizations help to fund these. And most of these leatherback sea turtles projects are overseas, so most of them have to fly to Africa or anywhere that there are leatherbacks. Yes.
How long was the research project? How long were they in their beach?
5.5 months. Any others?
How did they get from there to Vienna?
They would mostly do it by boat, sometimes helicopter, but a lot of their food was transported by foot. They would have to climb up a mountain and back down it, and then back up it and back down it, just to get from the research camp to that beach. So, yes. picture Africa as an upside down boot. And like the very corner of the boot is where they were. So it was like the west part of Africa. Yeah, basically. Thank you for listening.